Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on where you are. I am Michi G, and today I'll be doing a tier list of all the cards from the Flowers of Love Cannabeast set. This set is brand new, and I believe people have just started getting their packs in the mail as of around 2 days ago. So without further ado, let's begin. Let's start off with Breakfast in Bed. This card says it's a nutrient, stash 3, increase your pounds by 30 for each card in your hand. So I think that this card definitely has a spot very close to meta. It's just I haven't seen a lot of decks succeed in being that health generation. So for that reason, I'll have to put this card at almost meta, just because it is a stash 3, so you could use it a lot. You can gain a lot of benefits off of it. It's just you have to fill your deck with 3 of these, and that takes up slots for cards that you could use that will help you win the game, like attackers, like ambushes, things like of that nature. Next card we have is 11 Roses. It's an indica, 24% THC. It's a stash 3. It does not have an ability. Its attack is 215 with 50 defense. So I like this card. It's an indica. It's surgible. It's pretty beefy, but not quite at that level you'd like it to. Unless you're running an indica booster deck, I think that this card would have to be around almost meta, just because it doesn't have quite the attack stat you're looking for to be bulky enough for the around the 1 sacks. Next card on our list is Black Swan. It's an ambush stash 1. When this card is played, switch the battle positions of every Cannabeast on the field. If played during battle step, switch the battle positions, then calculate battle damage. The way I'm reading this, it's best to use this card before the battle phase, but you could definitely use it as a defense mechanism. Like, let's say your opponent has 3 cards in attack position and you have 1 in defense. As soon as they go into their battle step, you just activate this and it switches your card that's in defense to attack mode, and then they'll switch all of theirs to defense, which would then force them to end their battle phase and just end their turn, because they can't switch battle positions during the battle phase. I think that this card is definitely meta. I don't know if I'd call this unbeatable, but it's very good card, and it can be a very strong card, and it can shut down a lot of 1-turn KO strats. So a lot of collector going for double blue dream, then maybe a spooky sunset to get a maxed out field to go for like a 1-turn swing. This could stop that immediately, and that's what I like about this card a lot. So I would definitely put this in meta. Next on our list is Candy Kush. The card art looks really good. It's really cute. It's a hybrid, 18% THC, stash 3. Does not have an ability, 40 attack, 100 defense. So just because of the low stats, I'm gonna have to put this card at not meta. I could definitely see this card getting some gameplay out of it, just because there is like a version of hybrids where you just rely on boosting, but with how low of the attack it is, I don't think that it would ever be super viable as like a spammy card, and it doesn't have an ability. Next on our list is Chemdog, if I'm saying that right, I believe. Really cool card. Hybrid, 19% THC, no ability, but it's 135 attack and defense. I'm gonna have to say probably like almost meta, but I'll leave it in not meta for now, like top of not meta, just because it is low attack and defense stats, but they're equal, which I like that. And it's not, you don't have to sacrifice anything for it. It's not crazy strong, it's not crazy bad, so I'll leave it at not meta for right now. Next on our list is Box of Chocolates. Increase the attack of 11 Roses by 20, period. So it's a nutrient, stash 3. Now, the way I read the effect, since there's no time on how long this effect lasts, I assume that it's just forever, since it just says increase the attack of 11 Roses by 20. And if that's the case, I would say it's definitely almost meta, just because any card that really just like lasts forever is always really good, and I could always see it being used and like, I don't even know, abused somewhere. Like it could definitely have play in some sort of deck or some sort of scenario, so for that reason I'll put it at almost meta. Next we have Steam Joint Willy. We talked about this card a little bit in my last video when we only knew a couple of the cards coming out. I believe this was a promo for the set, but I'm going to include it with the set since the whole set just released. I would definitely put this card at meta. It's the best of the 1-sack hitters. So 220 attack, and it says the ability is this card gains 10 attack for each black and white card face up on the field, which is extremely good. It's a stoner. It's really busted. Everyone's going to be running this card if they have it, or if you're playing in any of like the online matchups. I guarantee you every person's going to be running this card because it's just so strong right now. Next up we have Cookies and Cream. It's a hybrid Cannabeast, 19% THC. Ability, this card gains 15 attack for each Candy Kush in your ashtray. 150 attack, 120 defense. Still pretty low. So the issue I have with this card is that it goes with Candy Kush, and Candy Kush itself is a pretty weak card, I would say, with 40 attack and 100 defense. So having to run that in your deck and get 3 of it in the ashtray just to boost this card by, what, 45? I don't know if that's really worth it. That only puts it at 195, and you have to do 3 extra things just to get it at that, when you could just have something like a Steam Joint Willy as a 1-sack, and it's 3 times faster. So for that reason, I'll put it right here with not meta. Love Bow. For 2 turns, we did talk about this card. For 2 turns, Cannabeast can only attack those of the same type. So I think that this could be almost meta. I almost want to put it in meta, but I'm going to leave it around like top of almost meta, just because I could see this card being side decked. I don't think that it's anything that you would see anyone main decking, because it's not an ambush, so you're not going to be able to use this to stop an attack. It's kind of be something you have to like plan in advance and use the nutrient during your own turn. Next we have Bouquet of Buds. Stash 3 ambush. Send 2 Cannabeast you control to the ashtray to increase your pounds by the sum of the total attack. I could see this card. This is like top of almost meta. I almost want to put this at meta. This card is it's not quite there, but it's almost like a direct like counter of someone using a Northern Lights on you or something of that nature, or a Heat Wave, because you could activate this in response and it would allow you to destroy your own cards and gain pounds based off that. So that's incredibly strong. That shuts down an entire play. So I would put it at top. I would put it almost meta. I could see the card being side decked as well. I could see some people main decking this just because it is very situational, but everyone's running Northern Lights, everyone's running Heat Wave, all of those like field wipe cards. Next, Buddy Boop. That's going straight meta. Like, it is a card that I would side deck, but you know, with Steam Joint Willy around, Indica Cannabeast 15%, 100 attack, 100 defense. When this card battles a stoner card, the opposing stoner card's attack is halved. So, you know, it's not a like crazy serious direct counter to this, since, you know, it'll have a few more attack, but if you were boosting this whatsoever, it would instantly be enough to destroy this. And, you know, with everyone going to be running a stoner, at least one stoner in their deck. I'm sure some people run multiple stoners, but like, and any other stoner would just die to this card instantly. So Steam Joint Willy is the only card with the exception where you would have to, you know, have this card boosted up a little bit to take this out. But having that effect is very good for where the meta is kind of leaning right now, towards getting stoners in that slot for the 1-sacks. So I feel comfortable leaving this in meta. Next we have Diamond Girl. Indica Cannabeast, 15% THC, with the ability while this card is on the field, increase the attack of Grape Ape you control by 20. It's 125 attack, 165 defense. You know, we'll get into Grape Ape in a second. The issue is that Grape Ape is a 2-sack, so you have to harvest 2 in order to get it out. So for that reason, I would just say almost meta, but I really want to put it top at not meta, just because it's such a difficult combo to pull off. Heartbreaker Hit. It's ambush, 1 stash. You can only activate this card while Cupid's Bow is activated. Choose your opponent's Cannabeast. Choose an opponent's Cannabeast and send it to the ashtray. Okay, this is like super situational, so I want to put it at like top of not meta, because it's requiring that a nutrient is activated during the same turn that this card is played, and then you get to destroy 1 Cannabeast. So your opponent has to have a Cannabeast out, you have to have Cupid, and you have to have Cupid's Bow activated to activate this. So for that reason, the fact that you need like around 3 conditions for this card to be activated, I would put it not meta. Next up we have the Ambush Love Room. It's a stash 1. Send target nutrient or ambush card to the ashtray. You lose 100 pounds. That's instant meta. That's instant top meta. This is just another card that's just a destroy 1. It's a Bud Buster. It has a cost to it, so you lose 100 pounds, but in my opinion, 100 pounds is nothing. You have 1,000 pounds, so it's 1/10 of your life pretty much, but you get to destroy any Cannabeast on the field, which that's like crazy strong, and it's an ambush, so you can do it during either player's turn at any time. Extremely strong. This card is going to be very meta. And just so you know, any card that I put like in meta, I would seriously suggest having this either in your deck or side decked, because you're going to run into this card, or run a direct counter to any of these cards, because you're going to run into them. Next we have Green Love Potion. It's a nutrient, stash 1. Until the end of the turn, the effects from bed or breakfast in bed, box of chocolates, and Cupid's bow are doubled. It has potential to do something crazy, you know? You could breakfast in bed and get like a ton, but the fact of the matter is it's very specific. It's being used to boost the effects of 2 or 3 other cards, and for that reason, I would just say not meta. Next up, we have Cannabeast Gummy. To concentrate, stash 1, 21% THC. No ability, 100 attack, 170 defense. Honestly, I'm going to put this like miles from meta. I might even say not meta just because, you know, it's a 21% THC, so you're going to have to harvest 1 to play it. But Golden State Banana is a card, so it allows you to just get your concentrates out instantly by transplanting them. So, you know, I don't think that it's like a terrible card. I would put it at not meta, like maybe like here, not meta. Next, we have Cupid. This is another card that we talked about in the last video. It's an indica, 15% THC. Its ability is, if this Cannabeast is destroyed by a stoner card by battle, after damage step, destroy that stoner card. So, I would say top of almost meta. So, you kind of have to use this card to, like, bait a stoner into attacking and destroying it. Or just use this card to directly attack something like a Steamboat Willie so that you could destroy it. But it's... any card with the ability that it has to be destroyed in order to get an effect is, in my opinion, like close to meta, but not quite there. With the one exception, you know, there's only a few cards that do it, but the only card I can think of off the top of my head is Aphids, and I would call that card meta because there's no other purpose to it besides that, because it has extremely low attack and defense, and it's only really positive you get off it is that it destroys pretty much any Cannabeast after it's destroyed. Which that's what kind of reminds me of with Cupid. So I would put that at top of almost meta. I could see it being side decked. Cupid's Bow. It's an ambush, stash 3, increase the attack of Cupid, card that you control by 30 until the end of the turn. We talked about this. This card allows it to boost this one. Cupid's Bow can only be played on Cupid. So far, it says Cupid cards. So I mean, there might be cards that come out in the future that have Cupid in it, and this card could end up being better in the future, but for right now, I would definitely put this card at like miles from meta, just because you know, you have to, so many things have to be going your way for this card to be good. Oh, next we have Pure Love. Pure Love, it's an indica Cannabeast, 11% THC, 50 attack, 0 defense. Ability, this card gains 10 attack for each Cannabeast in yours and your opponent's ashtray. That alone just puts it here. Indicas have a card that allows them to be searched right now. That makes this card busted, because that means that this card is a searchable, better than Blue Dream ability. Not better than Blue Dream in terms of attack stat and defense stat, but better than Blue Dream in terms of its base ability, which is to get bonus attack from not only cards in your ash, but your opponent's as well. So this card it's just free to summon. You play it, you can just plant it instantly. And if you play this card towards the end game, you can get crazy high attack stat on this thing. You know, the two things that are keeping this thing in line from just being like crazy OP and game breaking is just that it's a stash 1, so you can only have 1 of it in your deck, and it has 0 defense. So if your opponent is able to get this card defense mode and attack it, it'll get destroyed and you'll take piercing damage. Next we have Grape Ape. It's Indica Cannabeast, 30% THC, stash 3, 275 attack, 200 defense. So it's a little bit worse, in my opinion. It's a little bit worse version of Chuck OG. You know, it has that high attack stat. It has a bit lower defense stat. It's still a sack 2. It doesn't have an ability. It's just kind of a very neutral card. It's going to cost you 2 no matter what. I know this card did get a Diamond Girl, which Diamond Girl does have the ability to buff this card. But I would still, regardless of that, I would still have to put it at like almost meta. Just any card that's really a 2-sack, unless it has some card specifically out for it that allows it to get revived or, you know, planted for free, I'd have to just put it at almost meta, just because I really can't see it being used in everyone's deck. Last card for today, we have White Rabbit Hole. It's a nutrient, stash 1. It says reveal cards from the top of your stash and send them to the ashtray until you draw a nutrient card. You lose 20 pounds for each card discarded this way. So that's meta, like, for sure. I don't know if I'd put it that high up on meta, but I'd say it's around here, meta for sure. The way you could use this card is really broken. So let's say you can't draw this turn for some reason, like let's say you activated like Hag or something along those lines, or Cloud9. Those are both really meta cards, and you can't draw this turn. You need something to help move your deck along. You could play this card and just use its ability to reveal cards and add a nutrient to your hand when it gets drawn. So it essentially allows you to get another draw card off, because it says you reveal cards and send them to the ashtray, which, yes, you're going to have to be sending cards to the ashtray, but with how the meta is leaning, you're seeing a lot of decks with Blue Dream, you're going to see a lot of decks with Pure Love, you're going to see a lot of Pump Cushes, so cards that benefit off having cards in your ashtray, and you're going to be seeing a lot more 60 card decks, I promise you, because having more cards in your ashtray is more beneficial to the gameplay. So and this card allows you to just skip those steps faster. So if you didn't get your collector in your hand first turn, you didn't get any of these cards in your hand first turn, that can really make your deck siphon through cards. Your next Pot Pincher, your next Hag, your next Cloud9, just something to keep your turn going and allow you to get those cards you need to win the game. All in all, this set had quite a few amazing cards. Not only was the art amazing from this set, but we already have 5 cards meta, 1 unbeatable, and a ton of cards in almost meta. You know, this set alone has diversified the meta so much, just off of, you know, stoners really needed support. Like, they were down under. Stoners pretty much only had cards with really good effects, but they didn't have any attackers. So with this set, you got your first stoner attacker, and it's literally became the best 1-sack stoner attacker that there is. Well, it became the best 1-sack attacker in general, but it also happens to be a stoner. At the same time, that was offset by adding cards like Buddy Boop, you know, that counter the stoners, like Cupid. These cards that are just direct counters to stoners that will really make you think twice about going straight to adding those cards that are just really, really OP stoners, or really, really good like Indicas. They also got, so Indicas got a buff, but they also got new cards to just counter really strong cards. So while strong cards like Pure Love exist, we also have Love Room, which is another card that just insta destroys one off the field. So for every really good card we get in the game, we get one card that is able to offset that a little bit, and I like that a lot. Same with Black Swan. These two cards together, I promise you're going to see them everywhere. They're so good. These two cards are just so instant relevant to the meta, along with Pure Love and along with these cards. You know, you'll probably see people running these as like side deck cards. I don't expect to see them as much main deck. I can maybe see Breakfast in Bed being main decked by some people who are running kind of those decks, but overall you will see these cards everywhere, and I love this set so much, and I'm so excited about where Cannabeast is going and where it's already gone. So thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure to like, subscribe if you like the content. Comment, let me know what your favorite card is from this set. I'll tell you right now, my favorite card hands down is Pure Love in terms of how good the card is. If I had to say my favorite card in terms of how the art showed out, I'd say Cupid. I loved the whole coming out of the actual card art that they do. I love seeing those more and more. So thank you so much for watching again, and have a good one.